We are back. We're joined by Richard Greenberg. He's with us. He was here not too long ago, actually, talking about his book, a wonderful book called Raising Children That Other People Like to Be Around. Boy, if we could all be that lucky.
Is that what he brought with him today?
He brought his favorite child with him, Woody Fraser. Woody is our father.
Our father who
he's
are
raising
in
us
office.
Here. By the way, just for our view, that was your second snort today. You're only
today. Look at his footy.
There,
Thank you.
Woody with his footy. But we showed your little cart here. How do you get around on that thing?
It's called a knee scooter.
A knee?
Yeah, you remember when you had regular scooters?
Yeah.
That thing saves my life.
We have you actually in motion today, getting around.
Yeah, they have somebody took a video. I can't remember if they have it.
They do. It's coming somewhere.
Did you get the video?
Yeah.
It'll show up.
There it is. There it is.
Ah! So you can really go. You can go on this thing.
I want
to.
Like I've only fallen off 3 times.
You
know.
Yeah.
Did you go to the grocery store? You got the little bags to put on
a little
the
bag.
side.
Yeah.
But enough of the nonsense. Let's talk about a little bit about what we're here talking about, dads, and how important we are. There was an alarming statistic that I heard when I was going through the research for this. 1 out of 3 children go to bed every night without a dad in the house.
Yeah.
15 million children in this country.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right. I had to look at the report and read it.
Well, you know, there are a bunch of reasons why that happens, I think. But kids need their dads, and I think they need the image and the concept of a dad as much as they physically need a dad to be in the house. So as terrible as that statistic sounds, it might not be as bad as that. There are a lot of dads who aren't around. You know, I was a workaholic dad, and it wasn't even part of my consciousness, but I would go to work and I would come home, and after a long period of that, my wife said to me, you know, when do you think you get home? I said, well, you know, I think I get home about 8:30 every night. She said, well, actually, you get home around 9:15, and everything's done with the kids, and you know, it should be.
They're probably in bed at that time too.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm in bed at that time.
It would be good if you showed up, is what she said. And it was like, well, yeah. But I was doing what I thought was my job as a dad, which was earning money to support my family. But that is what my consciousness is as a dad versus what her consciousness is in terms of taking care of them, which that's an old-fashioned look. And in doing that, she said to me, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like you to be home 1 night a week for dinner with the whole family. And instead of working 4 Saturdays a week, I'd like you to work 1 Saturday a week. And that was a very reasonable request on her part. It didn't it didn't make it sound like she was trying to take over my life. And it just had logic to it.
Why she asked you to do that?
Well, it was clear why she asked me to do it, because I think she needed, and I wanted to be present in my kids' lives. And she just thought, you know, my mother said to her, men are really good at following instructions. Don't expect them to do what you think you want them to do. Give them instructions and they will follow it. So if you say be home 1 night a week, your husband will be home 1 night a week. And that worked for me.
It was a suggestion though, wasn't it? It wasn't like you need to be here, because if she would have told you that, would you have pushed back?
You know, we had gone through the pushback part of that discussion already, and in which she had said something like, if you're not around, our kids aren't going to know who their father is.
Well, can I ask you a question from a woman's standpoint? Because I don't understand men in the way they think. Didn't you not miss being with your children, or didn't you want to be with your children? What was your concept about being a father? What was that about?
Well, you know, there's the concept that is I have to earn a living. I have to support this family. And that really was my dominant concept.
Okay.
And I think for guys, it is a lot of what goes through your mind is like, I'm working hard. Now, there are other guys who don't want to be home. That's a different story. Those are the guys who I call anywhere but home dads. And I would be out to dinner with a client, and I would see the anywhere but home dads at the bar hanging with their buddies. And in some sense, those guys don't want to be perceived as being pushed around by their wives, because they're sort of lingering in that old male part of this culture. And in another sense, maybe it is that their wives don't allow them to sort of transition back into the house easily. Another thing my wife did that was fairly brilliant, and again came at the end of a long conversation, was I said to her, don't just hand me a child when I walk in the door. Like, give me some time to decompress. I need to come home, I need to wash my hands, I need to take off my jacket and my tie, and I need to sit down for a minute before you give me
the children that
child.
she's been watching all day and
Yes,
taking
but
care of,
she's
cleaning
in
and
that
cooking.
rhythm.
And,
She's
oh,
in
she's
that
in
rhythm.
the rhythm.
I've been
Okay.
at war.
Well, no, but
They're
look,
fighting.
I agree with that. There needs to be a transition. When I come home, and I don't know if this was for the case with you, Woody, when you came home when your kids were little, but you need that transitional period. I just need to go upstairs, take a shower, and spend 20 minutes
I'm just the reverse. I literally lost 2 marriages because I have 8 kids, and I couldn't wait to get home and see my kids.
Right.
So I lost the marriages because the women in my life at that time could not handle the fact that I might love my children more than I loved her. It's true.
Oh.
They would tell you this. They would tell you this. I had my children, my work, and them. It started out, it was them way up here, and then after you're married for a while, it drops.
That's a flip. That's a flip on a concept that I'm aware of, which is mothers who I think are busier being the mothers of their children than they are being their husbands' wives. Yeah.
I have to. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. And so what happens is when they're busy being the mother of their children and their husband comes home, he's not getting treated like a husband. So my daughter actually pointed that out to us when talking about another family. She said, well, they're like us, but he treats his wife like she's his wife, not like she's the mother of his children. It was like, really? You're 14 and you figured that out? Wow. So that's pretty amazing.
There's a lot more. I want to tap your wavelength on this about raising 2 boys as a father now, taking care of them and making sure the second one doesn't get all the hand-me-downs, doesn't get treated like he's the sort of second.
That's impossible. They're going to get the hand-me-downs.
Right, but there's other things too that,
as long as it's not hand-me-down.
It's not. More when we come back with Richard.